Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Gods and Monsters by E. E. King, read by me, E. E. King. Each week, MetaStellar is releasing a new episode of Gods and Monsters, both in print and on audio YouTube. Thank you for listening. And now, episode 44, Premonitions of Endings. Last week, River visited Pam wearing one of Gabrielle's necklaces. She told him that the necklaces attract the undead, and that is why there have been killings in San Francisco. Pam revealed that she has AIDS. Chapter 140, San Francisco, 1987. Gabrielle and Pamela. River looks at Pam, crystal necklace between them. She is there, right in front of him. So how can he miss her so intently? A wind pushes against River's back. The pantry door blows open. Gabrielle is there, indigo-eyed, focused. He has heard the call of the crystal, like a ripple in the stream, like a virus in the body, expanding ever outward, encompassing eternity. He moves toward Pamela with sure grace that River has seen so often on the dance floor. He reaches for Pamela. Without a glance at River, she takes his hand. She cannot help herself. The two parts of Gabrielle, human and vampire, are a poisonous aphrodisiac. Like fire and gas, the reaction is explosive. Like ammonia and bleach, the mixture is toxic. His beauty, his very being calls to his mother's kind, irresistible, deadly as a perfect amanita, glowing like a ruby in the moss. He is an oasis amid dry sand, glistening and still, promising liquid peace, eternal life. But he is a mirage. The fruits of his hands call to his father's people, lonely men, desirous of an unobtainable perfection, permanent and hard as crystal. Each time Gabrielle summons death, each time he looks down upon dust, a tiny kernel of humanity screams. No! The cry springs from River's throat, scraping it raw. He leaps toward them, but Gabrielle and Pamela have already disappeared into the darkness. River stumbles after them, crying. Once again, he is following Gabrielle, but this time he knows he must catch him. This time he must win. Chapter 141, San Francisco, 1987, Endings. They have reached the door of the tailgate. It's locked, but Gabrielle doesn't need a key. It opens at his touch, like a lover's thighs, soundlessly, letting darkness enter. I'm Gabrielle. Won't you come in? Pamela can't resist. She's lost in the deep indigo of his eyes, drawn by his scent, so different than River's. Gabrielle smells of the unknown and unknowable, of deep places and of danger. Held in the elevator's embrace, they rise through the silent building. Gabrielle wants to talk to her. For the first time, he longs for more than conquest and ashes. But he has no words. He's unschooled in the poetry of language, ignorant of the vocabulary of emotion. They enter his room, feet not even touching the floor. He holds her, cool as a river, cool as she. Turning toward the night dark window, she sees the reflection of an empty room over neon sky. Yet despite the emptiness, She knows he is not one of her kind. She knows she is not safe. She doesn't care. All her restraints have been severed, all her cautions dissolved by those bottomless eyes. She is drawn by hunger fiercer than blood, desire stronger than love, need more primal than lust. Mouths meet, tongues mingle, cold and dry. Perfect white bodies meet in the moonlight. Two marble statues come to life. On Gabriel's satin sheets, they fuse into a flawless moment of beauty. River is forgotten, buried in the pale perfection of flesh. Afterwards, Pamela rests in Gabriel's arms. His eyes look into her, unfathomable as space, profound as eternity. She is free, falling out, out, out into unknown worlds, distant galaxies lost in a starless night. Reaching above the horizon, a curving vine of light grows. It flowers, sending forth leaves of dawn, illuminating the darkness. It shines on the living and on the dead. It lights up Pamela's ivory flesh. For a brief instant, she is glorious and blinding in the sun. She leaves no teeth. They are already lost. Gabriel looks down at the dust. The world contains a little less beauty, a little less color. Gabriel smiles, accepting fate, embracing destiny. Fog advances over the city, shrouding the night in faux twilight. Outside of Gabriel's apartment, River huddles. He's cold, inside and out. Cold as Pamela's hands, cold as Gabriel's heart, cold as death. He's tired but fears to sleep. He's afraid he'll dream of Pam and wake up clasping air. Huck circles overhead. Gabriel brews a perfect cup of coffee, adding milk and watching it foam. He puffs lavender smoke over Pamela's charred form. Chopin's melody, melancholy harmonies, caress her ashes. Gabriel ignores her. Since all his mornings seem destined to end in ruins, he'd rather forget light and harmony. He wishes he'd never glimpsed a world of birdsong and color. If he cannot be part of it, cannot possess it, he wants to destroy it. Gabriel vacuums up ashes and fuses them with coffee grounds, gently patting them into his orchids. The plants spread questing aerial roots around the window ledge like the hairy legs of the tarantulas that emerge each fall from dark caves on Mount Diablo, just across the bay. Tarantulas are loners, like you, says Rio, resting a weightless hand on Gabriel's shoulder. I was a loner too. Perhaps if I had it to do over. But that's foolish talk. I can't. I don't know if you can, but Gabriel clips the dead stalks. As always, they sizzle at his touch, and new growth sprouts. Rio smiles and shakes his head. I was good with orchids, but even I could never make them grow at a touch. I was a lot like the tarantula. The males live underground for 10 years until driven by irresistible longing for their duds from their dens. If a male is exceptionally lucky, he may survive the dance of love more than once. But it's unlikely. Female tarantulas, like vampires, are deadly lovers. Even if the male survives, it's a Pyrrhic victory. He can never return to the safety of his subterranean lair. He roams the hills, seeking love and courting danger, till the winter comes and he freezes. Mount Diablo's tarantulas have been described as being the size of a small bird, possessing the fangs of a reptile and delivering a bite considered fatal. It's funny, really. A tarantula's bite is no more deadly or painful than a bee sting. One would be wiser to look out for wandering spirits, skinwalkers, or even poison ivy, which triggers a rash more irritating and longer than the tarantula's kiss. But the deadliest residents of the bay are the pale, heart-rendingly beautiful strangers one encounters on foggy nights. I know that from experience. Gabriel carefully wraps the dead stalks in paper towels and throws them in the trash. Join us next week when River runs at Gabriel, beyond feeling, beyond thought, loneliness and heartbreak, giving him speed. Though 10 feet away, Gabriel springs into the air like a feral cat, fast as lightning, sure as murder. He lands on River, for the first time, fully his mother's son. Thank you for joining us. See you next week. Bye-bye.